Hey guys, how's it going? My name's Fluffy Man with the Pizza Department. Today I'm going to be bringing you a guide on experimentation. It is going to be the first map you're introduced to in Lethal Company. It's a very good beginner map. It's also a good map in general if you're just trying to build up your funds. I'm going to cover everything you need to know about experimentation, from the gear that's going to better help you survive the planet to just some tips and tricks of the planet itself and the layout and what to expect from the mobs. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first topic we're going to go ahead and cover is the layout of experimentation. So when you're going to land, you're going to get a little icon on your screen that's going to say random seed number so and so. Every time you come to this map, the inside's going to be randomly generated. The outside is going to be about 95% the same every time. Every now and then you'll get like an extra rock or pumpkin, and sometimes they will block one of these ladders. So you'll have to use the opposite ladder on the other side to get up the stairs. You'll find the ladder to the left, and then there will be one to the right. The main entrance to this building, when you go out, your ship will be directly in front of you. So just keep that in mind. The ladder to the left will be close to the fire escape. So instead of going towards the main entrance, you'll take a left, veer off, and it'll take you up to the stairway. There's also this little building over here on the side of experimentation. There's nothing fancy about it. You go inside, it's just a big empty room with nothing in there. So if you're curious, you can check it out. Otherwise, there's like really no purpose to this building right now. So going up the main stairs, we will go ahead and take a right. Here is going to be your main entrance on the left, right next to the train tracks, which has a couple pieces of train on it. Again, not a whole lot going there, just more for cosmetics. So if we go left of the main entrance, you'll find a stairwell. So all you have to do is go up these stairs, and at the very top, the fire exit will be there. It is always going to be there. This location for the stairwell never changes. It's good to keep this location in mind because sometimes the main entrance could lead you to a dead end, or vice versa. The fire exit might be a dead end, or there might be a locked door inside slowing you down. So let's go ahead and head on in. So coming into this room, you're going to notice that you're going to have a factory industrial look to it. This is going to be the theme of this map. There's going to be stairwells in this building. There's going to be storage rooms, much like this one, all over the place. There's our fire exit in here. So, like, let's say there's a mob at the main entrance and you need another way out. You can take that fire exit. They're very useful, especially with, like, sometimes the turret placement can get a bit wonky and you can get shot up at certain entrances. So, really good way to stay safe. You're going to get several catwalks. Be careful. There are going to be some that are broken and you can fall to your death really easy, or if you jump off the side here, you can pretty well get yourself killed. Some other things you're going to notice is the lighting. So this place is going to have a pretty dark atmosphere for the most part. It'll be light enough you can find your way around. There will be a few areas that are going to be a lot darker, and the flashlight will help quite a bit. But generally, you're going to be able to find your way around. So generally, there are going to be a lot of hallways, corridors, and doors everywhere. So most of these doors are going to be unlocked. Every now and then you're going to run into a locked door. I wouldn't worry about that. You can either get like a lock picking kit to handle it or a key. Also, you'll notice we ran into a blast door. They will have letters and numbers on them. You can use those to open it at the ship's console command. Or if you have a buddy hanging out at the ship, they can open it for you and get that taken care of.
R4.
So here's another room that's fairly common on the map. So it's just going to be a big, long, open room. It's going to have a few catwalks on it. Big thing here and there is just to be careful to look for like any kind of gaps in the catwalks. Otherwise, you could easily fall if you're not watching where you're going. There's a couple good points you can get to where you'll end up stepping off of it. Usually you can find one or two items in here. So this is going to be the apparatus room. And pretty much what the apparatus is it is a item you can get. It's a power source. So when you take it out, it will shut all the power down here. It's going to turn out all the lights. It's going to give per the wiki, it is going to give a 70% chance to spawn 2 mobs, and it does sell for a good chunk of money, so it is definitely worth getting. I'd say wait till it's the last item on the map to get. So to wrap up the layout for experimental, this is what a map view would look like. So go into the console while your friends are there and just view monitor. This is what it's going to bring up. As you can see, there are the letters and numbers on the door. You can type those into the console command to activate and deactivate. This will work for turrets and doors. So M6, as you can see, by typing that in, I was able to open it and close it. And you can also see that there are quite a bit of corridors and a lot of different things you can keep an eye out on. So like turrets, you can see that C2 is right there. We can turn that off for a few seconds if we want. And then you're going to see that the stairwells look like a stairwell on the map. So, like I said, this is a good bird's eye view of what the map looks like, just to give you a feel for what you're going through and be able to better guide your team or just have an idea for yourself when going in here. So the next topic I'm going to talk about is what hazards you're going to face on the map. So I'm going to just include mostly environmental things. So let's start off with the very first one, and that's going to be broken catwalks or jumpways. So with these, you've got to be able to jump across. They're going to be crossing, and the big issue here is falling in. So being overweight can really have a bad effect on this, or just bad timing a jump. So the next hazard is going to be landmines. These can be common and sometimes excessive at points. Really, the best thing you do with these, listen for a beep. If you hear that, it means there's possibly a landmine around, and just try and do what you can to get around it. Don't step on it. Sometimes that'll be easier said than done, especially if you're running from a monster. If you do step on it, and you have a team and there are monsters, just hang out on the landmine. Take as many monsters as you can with you. The next hazard is going to be very basic, but it's going to be lighting. Just not being able to see. Sometimes you won't be able to tell what mob you're about to run into, and you could go from like thinking it's going to be a hostile to maybe a neutral mob. So always make sure you have a light. So another hazard you run into is leaking steam from valves. So all you got to do is find the valve, close it up, and it'll give you vision back for the area. Usually just follow the sound of the pressure and just look for spilling steam, and you will be able to locate the valve and close it. So the last hazard's going to be turrets, and you're just really just going to want to stay out of their line of sight and avoid running in front of them or having your friend disable it from the terminal. So now I'm going to cover some of the most common images you're going to run into in experimental, and we'll go ahead and start with the slime. So the slime pretty much just takes up a bunch of room, very slow moving. They cause damage over time, however, you do have a few seconds to get out, as you can see here. So best bet is just kind of avoid them, try not to get cornered or move them away and trap them somewhere so you don't have to worry about them. So the second monster we're going to cover is the eyeless dog. These guys have a very high spawn chance at 57.25%. Usually you're only going to run into these if you're staying on the map pretty late. They don't run them around during the day. So generally on experimental, you're going to be done with your loot run before you run into these guys. But in the off chance you don't, best way to avoid these guys is to make absolutely no noise, crouch, walk, and get back to your ship. If you have anything that makes noise, turn it off. Should that be a walkie-talkie, or if you find a robot toy, make sure it's not making noise. It's worth mentioning that these guys do take 12 hits with the shovel, so it is not worth trying to fight them. So the next one on the list is going to be the spore lizard. These guys are very harmless, so pretty much they are just here to pretty much spook you. So if you see one, leave it alone. It's going to retreat. The only time these guys will fight is if you corner and just actively try and engage it. Again, very friendly. Just don't try and pet it and you'll be good. So this next enemy is probably my favorite. It's going to be the hoarding bug. So these guys are neutral territorial, so staying away from their nest is good. They'll have a lot of loot there. That's how you can usually identify it. They like to pick up items and will generally carry it back to their lair. If you do aggro them, they do take 2 hits to kill. Otherwise, usually just staying away from them, leaving them alone, you can get away with not needing to deal with these creatures. If you feel like it, give them a key and they'll usually run off happy with it. So this next enemy I'll cover is going to be the Snare Fleet. These guys are very dangerous and can end runs. So what they do is they hide on ceilings, so if you're not watching above you, they can easily pounce on you, make you drop all your gear, and just pretty much suffocate you till you die. If you have a friend, they can definitely knock them off your head for you, saving you. They take 3 hits to kill. It is worth to note, though, they can retreat and they can open doors, so be mindful of that if you're trying to run away from one and it's chasing you. Or if you're looking for it, look for the ceiling. I might try and get back on top of it. So the last enemy I'm going to cover for the common enemies found on Experimental is going to be the Bunker Spider. These guys are very tanky, coming in at 5 hits with the shovel, and they can 2-shot you. You can usually find them by the webs around. I'd recommend avoiding these. If you do have to kill it, try and plan according. Be safe when doing it. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it is definitely rewarding if you can get rid of them. So you can pretty well find any enemy here on this planet. These are just the most common ones you're going to run into. The other ones are so small percent chances, like the Bracken's only like, I believe 2% chance, Little Girl's only 1%. You can even find the Nutcracker here, but it's so few and far between that I don't plan on covering it for this video. In a future video I will. So let's go ahead and move on to gearing for this map. So the first item is going to be the walkie-talkie. This item is good for communicating with your team. Also, something cool is if you turn the power on at the start of the match, the power bar on the left will indicate how long you have left. So pretty much when the match is about to end and the ship's about to leave, it'll be close to 0 as long as you leave it on. I found that pretty neat. Hopefully that helps you. This item is very good for communication. It picks up pretty much everything. So if you have background noise, it'll pick it up. The next is the shovel. This is going to be a pretty heavy item coming in at 19 pounds. However, this thing can do a lot of damage and protect you. Also kill your teammates. Would definitely recommend getting it in case you run into snare fleas. Some of the cave spiders you might need to try and defend yourself if you can. Good luck with that. Or other monsters you might find. I definitely do not recommend beating dogs with this, as that's pretty bad. Next on my list is flashlights. You got 2. You got the Pro Flashlight and regular flashlight. So for the little extra it costs to get the Pro Flashlight, I'd recommend it. But if you're on a budget, the regular flashlight will get the job done. Got a little bit of flashlight range. You can light up a little bit. However, the Pro Flashlight gets a bit more range. You can see a lot more. Overall, I think it's just better bang for your buck. You can often find this item on sale and pick it up for like $10. So definitely would recommend the Pro Flashlight, especially with the battery life. You don't want that to accidentally go off inside the facility. So next up on my list, I feel like this item is not used as much as it should be. This is a lock picking kit. So for locked doors, you can definitely use this item to take care of them. It takes 30 seconds to finish picking a lock. It is reusable on other doors, so very good. It does make some noise, so be careful. I find this very handy if my friends teleport in and I have to get them out because the door is just flat locked. Alright guys, well that pretty well concludes most of what I needed to cover. Just a couple more small things. So this map does usually only have about $1,000 to $1,500 worth of stuff if you get all the max items. So later on down the road you will definitely need to move maps if you want to make quota. Also, I didn't cover every single enemy, as most of the ones I didn't have such a small percent chance or one-offs. You usually won't deal with them. Also, something with this game, all these hazards, all these monsters, fighting them, taking chances, what makes it so fun. Dying in this game is probably the funniest experience you can have, especially with friends. But hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did not, please let me know why. See if we can make some improvements in the future. But I'll leave you to this final clip. Enjoy your day, guys.
We'll be all right.